10 years, 11 years?
Yeah, being in the space for over a decade. This is their first one, but I mean, could you pick a better one for it to be their first?
It's a big introduction, and of course, election 2024 coming to Bitcoin 2024. We're talking right now about the expectations for Donald J. Trump about to go live on stage. Obviously, this is unprecedented. A little bit over time here. We're waiting for the president to arrive, maybe some last-minute speech revisions, but still, the expectations are high, I think, for a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We keep hearing this phrase. What do we think about this idea, and why are Bitcoiners excited about the U.S. government holding Bitcoin?
Trump building hype.
It's particularly important when we reflect on RFK's speech that
Everybody's
that is the likely expectation is a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
pumping MAGA coin. I bet MAGA is flying. Oh my
like
gosh.
We want to accumulate the hardest asset that has ever existed. I think that's better for the country. I think it's better for American citizens.
I don't have any MAGA right now.
Is unlikely to be announced here. I do not expect that. That would be amazing.
Insider information.
This is not insider information. I would just say that would be way too amazing. Because
oh my gosh,
tax treatment of Bitcoin in America.
I bet MAGA is flying.
Predatory, and I think it would be better for this country if we removed that treatment.
Well, we're waiting for Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, to take the stage. I want to read through some of his quotes. 2019, his introduction to Bitcoin, his first remarks, quote, "Bitcoin just seems like a scam. I don't like it because it's competing against the dollar. I want the dollar to be the currency of the world." The reversal, obviously the positivity now. What are your thoughts thinking back about some of these statements, given what we're about to see, Matt?
It's just amazing how much can change in 6 months, you know, and I just think it's important for everyone to just stay humble out there and realize the world can change faster than you expect it to. But it is just amazing. It is amazing to witness and be a part of, and I'm just really excited to hear what the president says.
Well, certainly some people expecting hard policy, maybe Donald Trump laying out a vision for America. And
we're going to watch this chart when Trump comes out.
And the reversal really beginning in May of this year, right? We saw there was a private fundraiser. He said that Biden is against it. Biden doesn't even know what it is. He has no idea. Gensler is against it. The Democrats are against it. I'm fine with it. If you like crypto, you better vote for Trump. What was your thoughts when you heard that just months ago that Donald Trump had reversed his ideas about Bitcoin?
I was cautiously optimistic and very skeptical, and I feel like today changes that, but we'll see.
And we've seen some policy advances. Trump saying, "I will ensure the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA." Of course, that's already one of his promises. "I will support the right to sell."
I have a MAGA. I'm holding MAGA.
And her goons away from Bitcoin, and he will never allow the creation of a CBDC. Taken as a whole, from the policy we know of Trump, what are your thoughts about his core proposals so far?
Look, I think it's important to properly set expectations. I think the fact that he's here alone is a massive validation of everything we've been working on for so many years. That thousands of people around the world, hundreds of thousands of people around the world have been building out this protocol. I've been building out the tools that make all of this possible. And just to have him here today to discuss Bitcoin with us is absolutely monumental. Everything else is simply gravy on top of that, in my opinion.
Of course, expecting history.
I don't know what this dude's talking about.
Updates on the main stage, looking at a rapt audience of people who are waiting to see Donald J. Trump make history here on the Nakamoto stage at Bitcoin 2024. We've got some theme music coming out there, maybe some optimism that he's about to take the stage. We're going to send it to a quick commercial break. We'll be coming back. We'll be watching history together. Stay tuned. Keep watching on X, YouTube, and Rumble. We are minutes away from history at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville, Tennessee. Stay with us.
Come on, I need some live charts. Sure. What's the best charts to view on? Not this song. Oh my gosh. This song is built a reputation for just whatever's playing behind it is most likely cringe. There we go. Super chart. Oh my god, look at Bitcoin. That's in 30 minutes. It's dumping. Oh my god, Bitcoin's dumping. Shoot. Almost $1,000 since the beginning of this live stream. What is this playing in the background?
So, what is money and how does it get value? Paper money has value because someone says so. Bitcoin is different.
What's
It's
up,
like
Dubs?
digital gold. It has
What's
value
poppin',
for
gamer
many
dad?
as gold does, but that's only the start. It has a limited supply, only 21.
How y'all doing tonight?
So no one can decide to just print more because no central authority controls it. It can never be shut down. And unlike with banks and credit card companies, you don't need approval to use it. It puts the power back in all our hands. Bitcoin lets you control your finances. Kraken lets you buy Bitcoin. Kraken, see what crypto can be.
Welcome back to the Mara News Desk, powered by Bitcoin Magazine. I'm Pete Rizzo, editor at Bitcoin Magazine. We are minutes away from the main event at Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee. People are lined up around the venue to see Donald J. Trump, and we've got some news to break on the desk right now. We've been told that a special guest is on.
We don't
his
want
or
no
her
special guest.
way to the venue. We don't know, and that's the source of this delay. And again, waiting for Donald J. Trump.
You might think you know Bespoke Post. They have leveled up.
What the flip is
Bitcoin
this?
Advocate and Christian Corollas of the Human Rights Foundation. Guys, what are you feeling right now?
So we're sitting at 68,300?
Christian, you're on the stage.
Oh man, the anticipation is real.
Yeah, I wish.
The anxiety
No, this is not how much I got in
is
Bitcoin.
the air. I don't really know what to think.
This is
but,
Donald Trump at
I
the,
can't think of someone delaying Donald Trump.
Bitcoin
other than
2024 magazine.
A
Can
huge,
you
huge
say it?
guest. Huge guest.
Yes, special
Bitcoin
guest.
Magazine
I'm not sure we
2024.
can say more, but maybe potential history and maybe the internet will.
We're
be
about to see if,
broken, if we can call back to that. Obviously, we're talking
about to see if
about
Bitcoin's
what
gonna tank.
policy proposals we might
Live.
see from Trump. We've covered RFK's bold initiative yesterday. CK, maybe we can cut in there and just get your perspective. What can Donald Trump say on the stage?
The GameStop movie? No,
Get
I've never
Bitcoin
watched that.
Excited out in the polls in November.
Well, you know what? We talked about this.
I mean,
earlier.
I know what it's about. I've seen it with my own two eyes on Twitter and all that, or X, but I've never watched the movie.
Very, very nice campaign.
I need to one day.
Going back to RFK.
Did you watch it?
He pretty much gave Bitcoiners everything they could have asked for in terms of campaign promises. No one is bullish enough on these massive campaign promises. for
That was
Bitcoin.
crazy.
And I think one that went a little underreported but is absolutely huge is the potential of removing capital gains tax from Bitcoin's transactions.
That would be dope.
That has been a big thing.
Capital
Keeping
gains
Bitcoin
tax.
used as day-to-day currency.
That'll never happen.
It's something that's really important because Bitcoin stacks both extremely well as a store of value as well as a medium of exchange. It's just that the current
Are you
regulatory
building a
environment
house?
is very,
No,
very
I'm not.
prohibitive of doing that.
We've been reading
I don't know
through
where you
some
heard
of
that.
President Trump's past statements,
Turn my
going
light
all the
on
way
a
to his
little bit.
2019 rejection of Bitcoin through his recent reversal. Want to highlight some of the remarks from
No,
July
I'm not
that
building
have
a
maybe
house.
flown under the radar.
I would like to
Maybe
build a
taking
house,
us into a
if I can
window
afford
of
it.
what he might be saying on stage, what he's thinking about how Bitcoin intersects with the future of America. He said, quote, "I don't want to be responsible for another country taking
Imagine
over this
owning a whole
industry,"
Bitcoin.
calling his engagement with the industry, quote, eye-opening, and of course, the two quotes that got the most play on Boom.
The crazy
Bloomberg
part
that
is
day, quote,
Bitcoin
"China
isn't even
is
legal in
not
China.
Going away. Matt, what do you think about this idea that Bitcoin
Or
is
Russia.
persisting, it's winning, and that the U.S. must react, in fact, to Bitcoin's rise around the
Crazy
world?
enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's simply adapt or die. I mean, I think the game theory of Bitcoin plays out that every person, every company, every government is incentivized to adopt Bitcoin as quickly as possible, because as this adoption cycle happens, the purchasing
We wanna see
power
Trump.
starts to
This dude
evaporate
just-
if you don't
This dude
adopt
always
it
just
soon
yaps
as
about
well.
nonsense.
Christian, your thoughts on some of this? Obviously, you work for the Human Rights Foundation, an organization with a global context. This idea that Bitcoin is on the world stage, that it's competing or maybe moving America's interests in a direction. Your take on the former president's remarks?
Well, no, I think that this is extremely important. The reality is that a lot of policy that happens globally is copycat policy from America and the West. So the U.S. often sets the tone. We're seeing that the Biden administration and the Department of Justice had made a very negative stand towards financial privacy within Bitcoin. HRF does not think that financial privacy is a crime, and we have many examples of where activists and freedom fighters
So we went down to 68,000. We're back up a little bit.
We supposedly oppose here in the U.S. So we need to look at
Back up
what
to
we are doing and know that
64.
this affects the entire planet. And
I mean,
if we can make a
68.4.
positive turnaround here in the U.S., we are hopeful that it can change policies around the entire globe.
Matt.
I mean, off of what CK said, I really want to highlight here that as an American myself and as a Bitcoiner, I've worked with many developers, many open source developers throughout the world, and their main concern right now is legal liability over writing open source code. I think America stands to gain substantially if America is a place where they can
I agree with that.
safely, build any project they want to build. That is open source.
I feel like
that is not in their control, and that they do not have legal liability.
the
for.
most important
Bitcoin
thing
2024, we are minutes
that Trump
away
could do
from Donald Trump taking the stage,
would make it a lot
making
easier
history.
to
We're going through his
access
past remarks right
to
now,
assess
thinking about what he might be able to say
Bitcoin and things
laying
like
out
that.
a policy vision
Like allowing
for the
actual
United
banks
States and Bitcoin. Christian, going back to you,
to use
another
and
quote, from
transfer
Trump, quote,
between fiat
"Other
and
countries are
Bitcoin
going
back
to have
like
it." This takes us maybe into his insight and thinking, and other countries are active on Bitcoin.
that
Tell
would
us
be
what's going
crazy.
on around the world.
Well, the reality is that Bitcoin is a permissionless system, and we are already seeing countries like Bhutan, countries like El Salvador.
I don't think they realize that
can
they're streaming to
permissionlessly adopt this
more people
technology.
that
They no longer have to ask
pretty much
permission to
know
buy
how
treasury
Bitcoin
bonds.
works.
They no longer have to ask permissions to use the
The majority
US
of people
dollar.
watching
They
are
can
just
mine
Bitcoin
on their own with
maxis.
their own
I mean,
resources.
that's the only reason
They
I'm
can
streaming
accept
it.
Bitcoin, they can buy
Just
Bitcoin.
bored and watching
And
it. Figured I'd
if
make
we
something out of it.
fall behind here as Americans in the United States, you know, that is not going to stop other countries that see it as a benefit from picking up on it, and they stand to gain outside gains.
Of course, waiting for Donald J. Trump to take the stage, the news we broke minutes ago, a special guest
What's the news?
on the way. The reason for the delay, talking Trump right now, talking RFK. Want to switch a little bit to yesterday's remarks from Michael Saylor. Obviously, we're
special
talking about
guest.
a high bar.
Crypto
For
Bitlord.
speeches at this conference, his message to the world, quote,
Our BitBoy Crypto.
"Financial life is
That would be
being
cool.
sucked out of you." His plea to have the United States buy 4 million
Two different people, by the
Bitcoin
way.
of the 21 million that exist in his 21-year Bitcoin forecast. Want to walk through the bare basic
Crazy.
bull
Imagine if,
scenarios?
like,
His bear
America
case
owned all
for
of the
price
Bitcoin.
$3 million per coin. His base case, $13 million per coin. In his bull case, a whopping $49 million per coin. In the midst of the Trump pump, we're at $69,000 today. Want to get this industry
What is
panel's
this dude
reaction
saying?
on these numbers,
$40
Matt.
million
Makes me happy.
per coin?
I'm very happy. I've learned my lesson about making price.
You think any of these guys?
Probably a little bit on the bearish side without saying absolute terms. Michael Saylor is a capitalist. Donald Trump is a capitalist. Through my work at 1031, we're investors in 36 Bitcoin companies, oftentimes the lead or the exclusive investor. Most of them are based in the United States.
Jeez, look at
I think
Bitcoin's
at its
volatility. That's
core- At
crazy.
its core, we need the United States to be the
What's up,
leader
Alex?
in places where you can actually run a Bitcoin business in an ethical way, in a sound way, that you have solid foundations that you can trust. And from a government point of view, you really cannot.
Look how
make
low
enough
it dipped.
Bitcoin, no matter what. There's no
And then Donald
number
Trump
that
doesn't come
you
out, so
I think
then
Bitcoin is
it got bought
up
back
and to
up.
the right
Smart. They did this on purpose.
The question is, what is the timeline? It is a scarce asset. The supply will never change as adoption increases, and then later in the adoption cycle, as human flourishing increases, or GDP, etc., the Bitcoin purchasing power should increase with it.
You
So
think
if you
any
go
of
by
these
that
people
logic,
own
you can
Bitcoin?
never have enough Bitcoin, period. So every person, every company, every government should simply stay humble and stack sats as hard as possible.
Let's see what my
Of course,
crypto's
the
looking
script
like.
is out the window here. We're 20
am
minutes
down.
over from when Donald J.
Oh
Trump
my
was
God.
supposed to take the stage. We're told we're minutes away, and that a special
I'm
guest
definitely
is
not,
on the way. We're talking now about Michael Saylor's bold vision for Bitcoin, his insane price predictions. I think the reaction from
40
the chat,
million? Bro is
obviously bullish. Are
tweaking.
these price predictions insane?
40 million per Bitcoin?
Well, you know,
Yes.
I am on the record for saying that Bitcoin is likely a paradigm shift in value. I think that it is a better system for communicating and making economic decisions. And therefore, if you divide all the value on the planet by 21 million coins, that is not enough because it is a better system. It actually makes infinity
What is bro
bigger.
saying?
I think Matt alluded to that. As human beings continue to flourish, infinity will get bigger. And to be honest, There is no prediction on a long enough time horizon that is bullish enough. I don't think any of us can actually be bullish enough. Our monkey brains
Yeah, this
are
is
just not
definitely a
smart
top
enough to see
signal
the
here.
paradigm.
Monkey Brains here waiting for Donald J. Trump to take the stage. Expectations high for special guests. Of course, the chat
Pete Rizzo.
roving right now with expectations of who might come out. We don't know, of course. We're waiting.
I wish I could
to
see
hear,
it.
but we
Let's see if
know
I can bring the
Donald
chat
J.
up.
Trump is here, that he will be speaking. We're now talking about Michael Saylor and his price predictions. for
Donald
Bitcoin. We're gonna take
Dolan
a
DuPont.
short series of ads. A word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. History is moments away at Bitcoin 2024. Stay with us.
Where is Trump? Wise people saying Elon. What did he put? Robert F. Kennedy was there? That's crazy. I don't feel like anything that he could say could pump my Pepe bags. Have he mentioned Pepe? Come on now. Chinese Pepe? He's not gonna like Chinese Pepe. Chinese Pepe. He don't like the Chinese.
The Bitcoin Conference. We started with a dream to build a community focused on Bitcoin. It all started in 2019 in the heart of San Francisco, the first major Bitcoin conference in years that
Whoever made
kickstarted a
this.
revolution. And then Miami, a place where enthusiasts, developers, dreamers, and innovators could come together to make Bitcoin better. It has been an amazing 5 years and 8 conferences, thanks to all of you. Bitcoin Conference has become the largest premier global Bitcoin gathering in the world, leading hyper-Bitcoinization. While Miami was incredible, it was time to set the stage for Bitcoin in a new city. So we took the conference on the road. Nashville, Tennessee was the obvious choice. A city
They gave 1 Bitcoin to President Donald Trump.
Next year, the conference is hitting the road again in search of the next global stage.
Why the rich
We are
just keep
headed
getting
to a
richer.
new city next year. With hyper-Bitcoinization right around the corner, we have no plans to take the foot off the gas. Find out where we are headed next. Scan the QR code and be at the main stage for the big announcement.
Anyone can be a part of the Bitcoin economy. It's like a good church.
Because it's an ethical ideology, there are many people that feel very spiritual about it.
I think that Bitcoin has those characteristics to be not just the most Islamic form of money, but the most Jewish and the most Christian form of money as well.
Bitcoin is
The
just
what?
another step in the technological development of how we can serve.
Sometimes I don't know what these guys be saying.
Politics for money. Bitcoin.
Did that say Travis Scott? What the F is Travis Scott doing there? You're just gonna see a lot of shilling in the chats for sure. Oh, Elon is at the Olympics. Who's this person keep putting Zexy? Is that a token or something? Zexy? Zexy. Okay, Bitcoin's looking all right. Guarantee we're gonna see it at 68 grand by the end of this live.
Welcome back to the Mara News Desk, powered by Bitcoin Magazine, the eyes of the world on Nashville, Tennessee. I'm your host, Pete Rizzo, editor at Bitcoin Magazine. The main event of Bitcoin 2024, minutes away, but delayed. If you're just tuning in on the stream, we're waiting for Donald
Where
J.
is he?
Trump to take the stage at a Bitcoin conference with a special guest who is on his way. Obviously, no more to say on that, but a great panel who is going to kind of continue to talk about what we might see from the former and possibly future president to my left. Matt Odell, founder of 1031 Ventures, Christian Carolus of the Human Rights Foundation, and P, podcaster extraordinaire, joining us. P, take us into the reality. What's the sentiment on the floor right now?
I mean, it is electric. People are excited. They're ecstatic. They cannot wait to hear what is going to happen on stage in a few minutes, hopefully.
Well, we've been talking about these three words that have the world's imagination: strategic Bitcoin reserves. The expectations are high that Trump will make an announcement, and the pressure on because of RFK yesterday coming out saying he'll waive capital gains on purchase transactions, stockpiling 4 million Bitcoin. What does the president need to say, P?
Oh, man. That is a very difficult question to answer. I mean, the world is his oyster.
Well, take me into your thoughts as a Bitcoiner, someone who supported Bitcoin for a long time. Maybe he's even competing for your vote as an American. Is there something Donald Trump can say to you today?
You know, I mean, I am extremely excited to hear what he has to say about using Bitcoin as a reserve asset, support for Bitcoiners, support for Bitcoin as a store of value. So anything in that vein would be huge and would be extremely exciting to hear today.
Of course, we're taking questions on X, Rumble, and YouTube streaming live. Send them in. We are waiting for confirmation of when Donald J. Trump will take the stage. We've talked about his policy. We've talked about Michael Saylor's Bitcoin price predictions, and we're talked about the price activity, $69,000 right now, and expectations that the Donald Trump future presidency could be good for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin price. Christian, why don't you take us in there? Is that an expectation that viewers should have?
Yeah, you know, I think that anything on the size of the United States becoming friendly and officially friendly to Bitcoin is absolutely fantastic for Bitcoin price, because that opens the door to all the innovations that is happening here. And I actually want to turn it to some reporting that I saw earlier today, which is that the Democratic Party is actually now pressuring to stop Elizabeth Warren's attack on crypto and her siege against Bitcoin privacy and Bitcoin mining, and that this pressure is actually changing Bitcoin from
we up a little bit.
Something that is apolitical, and I think that shows exactly how fighting Bitcoin is turning into a losing issue. So not only can it be a winning issue for a candidate, but opposing Bitcoin can absolutely be a losing issue. And, you know, I would love to see in November some massive splashes against some anti-Bitcoin politicians, especially ones that are incumbents who have been there for a long time, like Elizabeth Warren.
Well, of course, there's this idea floating around Washington now, new for some, that Bitcoiners are single-issue voters. Matt, are you a single-issue Bitcoin voter?
My
What does that
single
mean?
issue is freedom, and I've yet to see a presidential candidate in my lifetime run on that issue, and hopefully that changes soon.
P, Christian, your thoughts? Is Donald
Mean
Trump right now
freedom.
competing for your vote?
Yeah, I mean, you want to go P or I'll go? So, yeah, I mean, I think that, of course, he's competing for everyone's vote. You know, for me personally, I have not been someone who has voted for a mainstream political candidate for president ever in my life. So, you know, if he can say the right things and he can make the assurances that I find to be credible for Bitcoin, it could be something that I can consider. And I think that there are a lot of Bitcoiners who are in my same shoes, a lot of people who are millennials who are in my same shoes, who have been disillusioned from the existing political conversation, and they are excited about Bitcoin, and maybe he can sway us.
Well, there's a lot of talk here about Bitcoin as a partisan issue. I'm going to back up and talk about Bitcoin as a generational issue. Maybe something that's just appealing to young people. The old timers don't get it. P, your thoughts on Bitcoin as a generational voting issue?
Absolutely. I think it's extremely relevant, even more so than before in this election. We've never seen Bitcoin discussed so openly, so consistently in an election cycle. And I think that's a testament to how it is becoming even more part of the mainstream conversation. It's really... it's entered the Overton window. I think, yeah, it's huge.
Whatever that means.
We're waiting for history to be made on stage. The eyes of the world on Nashville, Tennessee. People rapt about what Donald J. Trump might announce on stage. Now even more expectations of a special guest. Guys, what are your thoughts on this special guest? Who it might be? Who can take the expectations and the sentiment here even higher than it is?
I mean, Pete might hate me for this, but
Are we going to say Elon?
the special guest is worth it. I think it'll be worth the wait. We personally know who the special guest is. It's going to be well worth it.
Well, I do not know, and I actually heard, I have it on good authority, that it's actually a sort of genetic chimera that's been constructed of sort of a combination of Santa Claus and Elon Musk and also Abraham Lincoln combined into one.
Right.
Is that correct?
I think
Can
that
you
is who
verify?
Satoshi Nakamoto is.
You're
right?
not supposed to tell them ahead of time.
I'm so sorry.
Well,
we can
let's
edit
back
this
up
out,
a little
right?
bit and talk about Satoshi Nakamoto, maybe in context of this historic moment. We've seen history on
A
this
special
stage before.
guest.
Maybe this will be
If
the
it's
most
not Donald
historic
Trump,
announcement we've ever seen at a Bitcoin
then I'm
conference
not.
coming
What
up.
am I here
Satoshi
for?
Nakamoto, of course, the founder, creator of Bitcoin.
What if they
was
just
an
brought
individual,
Satoshi
very
Nakamoto
highly
out?
Motivated, a
That would
cypherpunk.
be
He believed
wild.
in privacy, believed in freedom. Matt, your take on what he would make of the idea of this conference being so political?
I imagine if Satoshi's out there somewhere, that the last 15 years of Bitcoin has just absolutely blown his mind, because it has just been amazing to witness personally. It has blown
Look at
my
Bitcoin,
mind
68,624 now.
It is astounding
Crazy.
to watch both the pace and progress of this movement. And I really do think that we could see here the beginning of the next great American.
Elizabeth
Revolution.
Warren, special guest? No
I'm
way.
humbled to be sitting here right now.
They just
as
bring
that
out Kamala
Talking about
Harris.
Satoshi Nakamoto, this
They have a debate
Bitcoin
right here at the
movement
Bitcoin
was
2024.
once an idea in
That would be
someone's
crazy.
head, something that didn't exist. Christian, your thoughts, your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with Matt. Likely Satoshi himself was not even bullish enough, but he did know that he was building an economic incentive system that was, if it did catch on, it'd be worth getting some, right? So that's the exact quote. And Pete, I mean, I would love to turn it to you. I've called you the world Satoshi expert. You've done incredible research into everything Satoshi. I know you may be even writing a book one day. I mean, tell us, what do you think Satoshi might think?
Well, look, I think
Some
Satoshi
random just
was
said, "I
built
am
with intent.
Satoshi."
We know that because of the way he's architected this system, right? Obviously, building it with so many qualities, the 21 million.
I wonder who Satoshi
limits,
is.
The cap that ensures that monetary freedom was available for everyone. But I think with Satoshi, look, if he's here, I think he is probably marveling at what he's achieved, right? I don't think he could have known, but it's important to kind of look at the context of where he came from, right? He saw an internet that was politicized. He foresaw that the technology that we now use to connect could be turned against us. The kinds of things we're experiencing today with deplatforming and privacy, these were all things that were of concern to the community he came from, the cypherpunks, and I think it's very
It
interesting
doesn't.
to
It doesn't
watch
really
as a
matter. I
headline
mean,
maybe here is that the cypherpunks
yes,
have entered
Bitcoin
mainstream
is never
politics,
going to be.
maybe with the arrival of Donald J. Trump here today. Do you think that's a fair
Bitcoin is
clarification?
never going to be decentralized and mass adopted at the same time.
I think the cypherpunks have been trailblazers in terms of political freedom in the United States specifically, but also globally. They were leaders in the fight in the early 90s for encryption to be the standard around the world and be easily accessible. This idea that you write code and you opt out of corrupt politics in order to achieve your goals, but also at the same time you engage with local politicians, you engage with ethical governments in order to protect yourself and protect the movement. That was a twofold win in the 90s. That was a
Last
twofold win
opportunity
because
to
the code got
buy
distributed,
below
the code
100K.
was sound, it
Yeah, I
worked
highly
really
doubt it.
well, but also that governments weren't actively attacking encryption. And yes, there are attacks in different places around the world. We've seen them recently in the UK and Europe, which is really not great to see because privacy at its core, it protects every single human on the planet. The ability to selectively reveal yourself to the world. But at the same time, if you look back at these last 30 years, I think the early cypherpunks would be quite proud that there hasn't been major transgressions, at least
What
among
is a cyberpunk?
Western democracies, against encryption and the different open source tools that empower freedom.
Well, I think one of the most fascinating things, Satoshi categorizing Bitcoin as an alternative to central banking, an alternative to government-run monetary systems, and here we have governments coming into the conversation. Christian.
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately, every single government on the planet runs a website. Every single government on the planet uses email. Bitcoin is actually a protocolized version of money and value and property that we can use, and it actually delivers property rights to places where it was not even possible to happen under government. So ultimately, I think that it is extremely bullish that now governments are once again bending the knee, looking at technology, and then ultimately having to adopt it. And I think that that is Bitcoin's sound game theory.
We are waiting for history at Bitcoin 2024. We're waiting for Donald J. Trump to take the stage. We're waiting to unveil the special guest. And of course, right now we've got a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back on the main stage, bringing you news, highlights, analysis until history is made. Stay with us.
So, what is money and how does it get value? Paper money has value because someone says so. Bitcoin is different. It's like digital gold. It has value for many of the reasons gold does, but that's only the start. It has a limited supply, only 21 million, so no one can decide to just print more. Because no central authority controls it, it can never.
How do you get started with digital marketing? With the complete digital marketing course on Udemy. You'll gain skills and knowledge in market research, email marketing, copywriting, social media, and more. So you can grow your confidence and land your first digital marketing gig. Sound good? Grab this course now and learn on.
By reducing landfill emissions and recycling data center heat to warm communities in Finland. With Mara, we're building the base layer of a sustainable future. To learn more, visit mara.com.
Dollar will dramatically lose its purchasing power. The more they print, the more it gets diluted. Who it's good for is the people at the tippy top.
Because in order to keep the system going, they have to keep printing money.
And Bitcoin is that tool that allows us to beat the money printer.
So no Donald Trump just yet, I guess.
In a way that is money that does not discriminate.
Oh my God, look how it just dropped.
By the people, for the people.
Just went straight from 68.6 to 68.2. Oh my.
Welcome back to the Mara News, powered
Oh!
by Bitcoin Magazine.
Oh!
Editor at Bitcoin Magazine. The script is out
What?
the window. The main event of Bitcoin 2024 was minutes away. We're waiting for Donald J. Trump and potentially a special guest. Expectations are high. Strategic
got a full screen
Bitcoin
mode.
reserve potentially on the table. RFK yesterday making history with an aggressive policy plan, calling on America to stockpile 4 million Bitcoin. Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy making the same appeal. We've got a new round of panelists to discuss as we await
Somebody
history
just
to
sold.
happen on the Nakamoto stage. I've got Matt Odell to my left, founder of 1031 Ventures. We've got Mr. Mike Germano, president of Bitcoin Magazine, and Q Gahimi. You know him as our roving reporter on the stream. He's been around the venue, talking with people, getting into the expectations, the insights, everything that's been going on.
What the flip?
Obviously, a big announcement on stage before the waiting period that we're now entering, that Donald J. Trump is now a Bitcoiner. The Bitcoin community banding together to gift 1 Bitcoin to Donald J. Trump. Mike, your reaction to this news?
Rizzo, I really appreciate you calling on me first as I came running over here from the main stage.
Well, that's because you know what happened in the room.
Yes. So, folks, one of the wonderful things that are happening here, if you not see, there's a massive line that's outside because obviously 4 weeks ago, we weren't even expecting to have
I mean, I've seen
Secret
the
Service.
video. It looks absolutely wild. Is there people really lined up beside the block right now?
Oh, there's people outside the block. The room is full. It's to capacity. You know, we had to once again deal with fire codes. I want to say thank you to the Secret Service that did an unbelievable job here at the event.
Oh, I
Not
forget
only
about
were we
that.
excited that RFK got his Secret Service detail, which he deserved, but obviously they're paying a little bit more attention with President Trump now at Secret Service. So, you know, we
Yeah,
have
that
our
makes a
expo
lot of
hall, we have
sense.
all the main stages. So going through Secret Service, you actually have to go through TSA. So I don't think Bitcoiners would ever expect having to go through TSA. Matt Odell's a big fan of TSA, so
Proof
he's really
that
excited about this.
election 2024 has come to Bitcoin 2024. Q, you're joining us from the
Just-
floor. You've been covering all aspects of this venue. Maybe take us into what's happening outside. Right now, we're just seeing a room of energized people, people looking at TV screens, lined up to try to get in to see Donald J. Trump, to see this special guest, waiting. What are you seeing?
I mean, look, we got in here very early in the morning, and from the start, before doors were even open, people were lining up in anticipation of this talk.
That's
People
crazy.
Immediately, they got in. They didn't want to do anything else. They went straight to the screenings, went down into the Nakamoto stage, and I saw people with books. I saw people like prepared to camp to make sure that they can just stay there all day to have seats to watch this historic event transpire. Never in any of the Bitcoin conferences that I've been to have I seen anything like this. We're making history today.
Of course, the waiting is building expectation. Is this raising the stakes for what Donald Trump has to say on stage? Mike.
He's a showman. Donald Trump's a showman, right? I mean, I'm expecting it to come out with like money, 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 money. Like this is, you know, this guy, you know, he's an apprentice. He's teaching us a lot. He's a showman. I think he's building up the hype. And right now, you know, I want to point out Ron Paul, who's a
just on
doctor,
stage.
you know, the good doctor. He kind of ran as fast as he could over there, and he's in the hall with everybody. He got a wondrous applause when he came in. And right now, we're actually finally the live stream is being broadcasted to everybody in that room. So we want to thank everybody, for waiting. We are working on it. There's obviously a lot of security, which is exciting, and we are definitely not buying time up here. We're taking this very seriously.
Well,
We
we're
have this
really
all
working
planned.
through the issues. We're talking about the policy proposal that Trump might put forth. Of course, already a slew of public statements from Donald Trump since his reversal earlier this year on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Of course, his big issues, energy independence, coming out against CBDCs, recognizing that we're a growing industry and constituency, and really maybe the biggest one, he doesn't want to lose a foreign advantage that we might have in the international stage. Matt, why don't you take us in?
I want to see the president lead us forward on the next generation of American success. I want to see America become the best country in the world to run a Bitcoin business. I want to see America become the best place in the world to be an open source developer. And I want to see America start stacking the hardest asset that the world has ever seen in a big way.
Well, a lot of talk that this might really be a 1990s moment for Bitcoin, really the internet becoming mainstream during that decade, breaking through and with legislation in America, really powering economic productivity for the next decade. Q, your thoughts on how what Donald
Minutes
Trump
away,
might
1
say
hour
on
delay.
stage might compare to this time period where we know America embraced innovation and could do so again.
I mean, we are bearing witness to the game theory playing out in real time. When Jack Mallers announced El Salvador adopting Bitcoin in 22, it was an incredible moment. The euphoria in that room sends chills down my spine just talking about it. I could not imagine that just 2 years later we would even be remotely having this conversation about America potentially having some sort of adoption, looking towards it. Germano's getting jumpy. Go ahead.
You know, the only thing I think we're talking about what Trump's going to do. There's one thing that Trump needs to do. The one thing he promised is he needs to free Ross on day one.
Right.
That is the one thing that he needs to do. And my hope is when he gets in, he free Rosses on day one. And then when we look at Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas, there's only one person that everyone's going to want to see speak, and that will be Ross. So
Let's
I
talk
hope
about Ross Ulbricht, founder of Silk Road. Of course, the reason that many people became Bitcoiners. Maybe, Matt, you can speak to Ross and his importance to this community and why so many people champion his cause.
I mean, I think at the core of the issue here is Ross has been in jail, often in solitary confinement for 15 years now.
Yeah, because he did Silk Road.
He was running a Bitcoin-powered drug marketplace, and I think it crosses party lines the fact that he has done more
Roads
than
were
enough
closed for
time
motorcade. He is there.
President Trump has promised to commute his
I'm
sentence
sure he's
day
there.
one,
We're just waiting
and
on him
that's
to
a key
show up.
point there. Not pardon his sentence, not say he was not guilty, but commute it for time served. I would really like to see that. I will say that
Yeah.
that
I mean, 50 years is a
falls
long
under
time.
The context of believing a presidential candidate's campaign promises. I will say a lot of other things President Trump can announce today. Actually, he doesn't even need to fulfill for it to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is part of the reason it makes it such a crazy moment. And the fact alone that President Trump has come down to Nashville
This is
to the
taking forever.